So anybody that looked at my racism video, hurts video, and knows who I'm talking about, they certainly likely did not hear the story from me. In that space, it's like we're saying names, we're calling people out, just like we did in the civil rights movement. That's just like we have to do now. I gotta call you out to the carpet so you can then take account for what it is you did. Welcome to Falling Forward with the Ross Sisters. Unfortunately, we missing a Ross sister. I'm Dr. Christine Ross, and we have here, is it Dr. Terrell Scott?
Yeah, Dr. Scott.
Hold on. It's not Scott. Terrence, Dr. Terrence Smith that we have here. So we're, right now, we're just going to be talking about bullying. And I brought this up to Terrence earlier today because I'm like, I feel like sometimes we think and look at bullying like it's just a kid's thing.
No. And I appreciate the conversation we had earlier. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people think it's about the kids, but it's actually adults, mm-hmm. especially in the workplace. As we spoke earlier, there's some instances that you've experienced. I don't know if you want to share that with me, kind of let us know exactly some things that you experienced.
Well, and I think for me, like, I feel like I don't know one adult that has not had the experience with bullying. I feel like for me personally, the biggest situation, and I actually did a racism heart series, and one of the big things that I was talking about was specifically microaggressions, mm-hmm. is what it was about. And the whole point of our racism heart series that we do, and we're doing that campaign throughout the year, is to look at uncommon stuff that people do that is clearly racist behavior, mm-hmm. if you actually dove deep and look into it. So I had a best friend named Ashley, and we got in this 4-year disagreement. We had a business together, all this other stuff. So I did my racism hurts on that because that was one of the things that was so prominent with me. And it wasn't that, I guess what was more prominent about it was the situations that mm-hmm. occurred that people would not consider racism. Like people actually saying, well, I had to take a side. They had to take a side without asking for both sides.
Yeah.
And how that was, how it kind of moved when I did my racism hurts video, I did choose to say people's names in it. Because I feel like when we don't call people out on stuff, we give bullies power. We give things like that power. It wasn't like, and keep in mind, I'm speaking to camera today, that I'm not going to call you out on something that happened in private. If we sit in here and we're just chopping it up together, like me and Terrence is chopping it up right now about bullying, I'm not going to bring something into the public eye mm-hmm. that happened in the private eye. But like I was telling you earlier, like I just tell my nephew all the time, if you're going to do something in public, I'm not going to match you, but I'm going to correct you in public. Mm-hmm. So if I'm over here doing something greasy to you, Terrence, I'm not going to sit there and curse you out in front of a big group of people. And then when it comes time for me to take accountability and apologize for my behavior, pull you aside and apologize in quiet. Like that's not appropriate. That is not meeting myself where I was at. That is not me taking accountability, because I'm kind of basically like, I'm gonna call you out in front of all these people. But when it comes to the apology, I did not match that same intensity. So I used to tell my nephew all the time, you do something in public, that's how we're going to represent it in public. So whether it's an apology, whether it's a praise, whatever, we're going to truly represent and match that energy in the form that you created. So for me, when my racism hurt video came out, and the parties, Craig, Renee, Heather, Ashley, and there were other people involved, but those were the major names within that really kind of hit me. I'm like, I'm one of those people that if something happens to me, I'm not going to just blast you, because keep in mind, this happened 4 years ago. Uh-huh. So now I'm at the other end of it. So me talking about it, and I think I did my racism hurts like in April or something like that. It was not me putting somebody on blast, because me putting you on blast, I would did it when I was hurt and upset as to what you did. But I'm going to say that name because they had no issue saying my name, putting my business on blast, acting as though I was the angry black woman, saying that people were scared to leave her business. They were scared of this. Because it's one thing that you're saying, oh, Christine, and bleep this out, she's if you want to say that, that transcends any race.
Yeah.
But when you push that narrative that, oh, they're scared of you, she's just angry, they can't leave, that's a different narrative that you're spinning, and that's a microaggression. And a microaggression is never a micro.
Yeah.
It's always something large that you kind of try to just, it's like trying to put seasoning on your food. When I'm cooking up something, it's not necessarily the meat that makes the meal. It's how you season it.
Yeah. Accountability.
Yep.
Lack of accountability. Do you feel that with the passive aggressiveness, they think like, oh, you should be above that. Mm-hmm. These little things, do you feel that sometimes they may say the comment, but they're like, oh yeah, you're angry, and it shouldn't bother you that much. Do you ever feel that way?
I feel like people try to placate you in that way, like, oh, you shouldn't, you shouldn't be angry. But I feel like, especially for me as a woman, as a black woman, as a whole, I feel like I was raised in a culture of activism, and that you're going to speak up for yourself. And sometimes with me, and actually a lot of times with me, it's not even what somebody did and how it actually hit me. Yes, it hit me, but if you gonna do this to me, and I can stand up for my own damn self, what happens when you hit somebody else?
Yeah.
What happens when you treat somebody else that way? So that accountability, if anybody's gonna call me to the carpet and it is in a public way, that's how I will address the behavior, in a public way. If it is just me and you chopping up at the house and we have some beef, I'm not going to bring it in a public context. Because even with what happened with Ashley, Renee, and Craig and Heather, like literally, I heard about some of this from stakeholders from my business. It wasn't just like, oh, she's tripping. It is, no, I actually have heard this stuff in the community. And people have believed what you said. And I didn't say anything. Even at the time when all of the stuff had ended up happening, I didn't say anything because I really had prayed about it. And the Lord was like, you need to be quiet, because whatever you say right now, you are going to be seen as the angry black woman, because that's the narrative that they're trying to spin, that you're an angry black woman.
So you're saying Craig and them were trying to slander your name. And do you feel, as we talked about earlier, that, some people see that you're going in one direction and they want to pull you in another. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that was part of that?
I think it is pulling in that other direction, because I feel like at times people, they want to derail you. And I think for a lot of the people like listening to Falling Forward, that you got to keep in mind, when people are pushing up against you, you at times have to wonder why. And it's not always the right timing to sit there and get your clap back in. Because you need to see what comes out at the other side. Because I could do my Racism Hurts video, and I did do my Racism Hurts video, because it did hurt when it was happening. It was very hurtful. And I'm like, shoot, I knew this person like 15 years, 12 years, or whatever it was. And you gonna do me like that?
That's what hurt the most.
Yeah, that's what actually hurts the most. And then, but I had to really take a step back and like really sit in it, and to be like, okay, what did I learn from this situation? And that's what's actually the end of my video. It's like, you tried to do this, but you were unsuccessful. But the sad part is you still tried to do it. Yeah. Like I've told people before, in some ways, that experience made me develop a distaste for the counseling community, because I'm not talking about just random folks off the street. I'm talking about people who are supposed to care for people's mental health, that you're sitting in that chair with them, you're sitting in spaces with them, and your job is to uplift people. And then you're going to sit here in this forum, lying, scheming about stuff. And like, I'm not going to be bullied by any adult. I don't care who you are. I will not be bullied by you.
So this brings me to a question, because you bring up a point that they're there to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make you question, in that time you're in business with them, that were they truly helping those that they were servicing?
Listen, I don't trust people who don't practice what they preach. I ain't no client ever sat in a chair with me and I didn't tell you and help you kind of process in ways that I actually believed were possible. So if you're going to sit here in any space and spread rumors about people, intentionally lie about people, intentionally trying to harm people, I'm not about to sit here and protect you. And I certainly will not protect your name, because anybody who knew about the situation, first of all, I only told a handful of people that was close to the vest. So anybody that looked at my racism video, hurts video, and knows who I'm talking about, they certainly likely did not hear the story from me. So in that space, it's like we're saying names, we're calling people out, just like we did in the civil rights movement. That's just like we have to do now. I got to call you out to the carpet so you can then take account for what it is you did, or not to take account for what you did. Because again, it's been 4 years and I've never, even when I'm talking to teens, when I'm talking to kids, you got to stand up for yourself, because your voice is all you have. And if you don't believe in yourself, and if you're not going to fight for yourself, who else is? And it's not to malign people, because again, if I want to malign, this would have happened when I was in the trenches with this. But 4 years out of it, I have a different perspective of it. The racism piece of it, I don't have a different perspective of, because that's what actually happened. But to see how that moves when you're in these spaces, when you're business owners, when you're in these spaces that you're talking to other people in leadership within your community, and see that that's happening and nobody's saying anything, I think it's sad, because I have to say stuff, because you have kids. I have a nephew. I have nephews. I have nieces. I have family. And I don't speak just for myself when I speak and say their names. I speak with all the people that are coming behind me. And I speak for the people that go before me as well.
The hardest thing, I think, for people is just speaking up. And then, can you talk about the power of coming forward? Because a lot of people don't understand. Sometimes you get this and you kind of sit back and it's like it builds up and builds up. But just that taking that power of saying, hey, this is what it is, or even like you even saying the names. Can you talk a little bit more about the power of coming forward, right?
I feel like it is very empowering, and it's not in that like a puffed up way, like, oh, I got you. Because if that's what you feel after you discuss situations like this, you feel puffed up and you feel like you're on this power trip, then that's actually a problem there. And you probably didn't step in and step out for the right reasons. I feel like the empowerment there is that it's you understand that there's other people behind you. When we talk about racism hurts video, it's not just Dr. Christine Ross who have experienced racism. And I've told people, every single day I walk out my door, I experience racism. I don't know any minority or specifically Black person who does not do that or experience that every time they step out their door. And I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. Sometimes I'm like, shoot, I need to take this trash can at night. I don't want them to think I'm robbing my own house, so let's make it quick. Hey, white man, will you come with me?
I've been here for 5 years.
Exactly. You still don't know me. I know your kids. They was at my house. But I feel like the empowerment is that until you start speaking out, sometimes we become the catalyst of other people speaking out against injustices. And I say this within a form, especially when we're talking about psychotherapy. It is we have to be examples within this community. And I'm one of those people that rules are important, but my whole thing is it depends on what the rule is. If it is something that I consider unjust, you gonna get a board complaint against me? Okay, I'm good. Guess what? I got one right now because somebody lied on me. I'm cool with that. Because I'm moving away as far as I'm ensuring that I'm doing right, and I'm trying to move in a way that I'm still beyond reproach. Whether you agree with me or not, that's okay. That's okay if you don't agree with me.
It's interesting you're talking about racism, because a lot of times people look at the racism. There's a side of it that they don't see. There's a side of the perseverance of you getting up every morning, doing your job 110%. There's a side of people don't see that the support system that you have, and how hard it is for you to move forward. And I think, as a business owner, as a Black woman business owner, talk about that perseverance, because I don't think people understand the strength that it takes.
I feel like it's hard when we're talking about being a Black business owner, a woman, a business owner in general. And there was some time like that. I'm like, I don't even want to be around other counselors, because that's how big some of their voices were, that I'm like, I don't even want to be around them, because I have to decide, one, I like to talk and I have a big mouth. And if I'm probably avoiding you, it's not for my protection. It's not for my protection. It's for yours. And if anybody knows me, Sam knows this right now behind the camera. If I'm telling you I barely really said anything for 4 years, listen, that's like being constipated for 4 years. Like that.
So it all came out.
Exactly. That's like being constipated for 4 years, because I'm a talker. I'm not one that holds back. And I did have to really lean on my mama, my sister, my best friends. And because I'm a talker, she might have been one of my best friends, Ashley, but I have others.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that it removed a support system, but I think when you're moving in a space like this, it's somebody trying to paralyze you with fear to stop doing what you're doing, even though there's nothing wrong with how you're moving now. It's just they got upset with you. And instead of just sitting down and saying, Christine, I feel X, Y, and Z way, you decided, and when I'm talking about Ashley, when I've never even had a conversation with her after all went down. She refused to talk to me, but she was still talking. She was still, from my understanding, even telling people, don't ask her because she's going to lie. So that's a manipulation within itself, that you're trying to manipulate people not to seek out truth. And we see that a lot within the racist narrative throughout history. Yeah. We're going to push you not to seek out truth, because we got the scary Black man who wants to sleep with all your women. We have we have all this stuff going on that we have to pay attention to.
Doing that.
Right?
Don't sleep with nobody. No, let me stop. No, but you look at fear. That's a key word. Keyword fear. The thing is, what do you feel can cause the fear, and then how do you move through that? Because it's tough. It's tough, especially I get it, I understand it, I know you get it, but kind of how do you navigate that?
The Bible says that we are not bound by fear. He does not give us the power to be afraid, but we have the power to have love, peace, and of a sound mind. And with that, we got to get up in every day, and we have to choose strength. Even when we don't have it, we have to choose strength. Even when you're the only one there, and choosing the right thing to do to stand up against something, you still choose it. Because if we don't choose it, if somebody does not choose to speak out, to stand up, then what does that mean for everybody else? What does that mean for your kids? What does that mean for my kids? What does that mean for society as a whole, when we're paralyzed to the fact, to the extent that we're choosing silence? And even worse, we think our silence is going to make a change. So what does being quiet do? Being quiet at times has power, but it depends on your timing. Me coming out when this first happened was not going to be the time. Me, even 2 years after, it was not going to be a time, and I had to really pray about it. So we're going to continue this conversation, though, probably in our same outfits. We're not even going to dress up for it. We're going to continue this conversation because, in our next Falling Forward, because I think it is important for us to really dig into what does fear look like, and what does that look like at a more public forum. So thank you again for coming to Falling Forward with the Ross sisters. We'll see you in our next episode.
Ross sisters.
Exactly. Flip that here.